happy to see you all, and my name is Tatiana Shelepko. I'm a Cambridge ELT consultant, and today we are talking about artificial intelligence. I guess this is the topic that has been really popular last year. Because several generative language systems became public, and people got really excited about at some point, and another point, I guess, anxiety started raising. Anyways, today we will talk, we will have a little poll and discussion. We will use the chat a lot today. We will look into the challenges that artificial intelligence might provoke in our thoughts. We will look into one of the research that Cambridge University provided, and we will also try to identify what are the benefits of Chat GPT particularly, and how it can become a powerful tool in learning English as the second language. All right, let's go. So we will start from the poll, and I will ask you to answer what are the challenges of artificial intelligence for learning, for language learning. What do you think? And to do that, I will ask you to scan the code or to go to slido.com and enter this code, so we can see your answers on the screen. And let's go. So you scan the code and you try to answer this question. What are the challenges of artificial intelligence for language learning? Oh, we see first answer, students cheat. It kills creativity. Okay. Replace humans. That's interesting. Cheating. Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. We mustn't take everything for granted. It replaces communication. Lack of imagination, as I understand it, causes lack of imagination. It delays communication. Students get used to doing tasks with artificial intelligence without making any efforts. And at this point, I'm all the time thinking about my favorite, one of the favorite authors, Isaac Asimov. I believe you know who he is and what he wrote. There is always the way to keep yourself creative. There is always the way to find communication. Ethical issues, that's a good one. No thinking. Brain disorder, wow. But at the same time, we are here talking about challenges. At the same time, I can see that it's extra help, and that there is Something else. Quick help, extra help. Okay. Adaptability. That's a good one. Okay, let's stop at this point. I will say that I actually, you know what we did here? I asked you a question and now I'm like, wow, these are so many ideas from so many people. And this is actually something that I could ask Chat GPT and it would give me other ideas. But it doesn't mean I'm cheating here, right? Because, for example, I didn't think about I would never think about replacing humans, and that's an interesting issue to think about, right? As a general problem, or I wouldn't think about someone wrote anonymous, how it might work. Like, shall we, for example, I don't know, make references that this was written by GPT chat when we're writing something, or no? So yeah, communication bursts other ideas, and this is something we can do with the GPT chat, but it's always better to do it with real humans. So thank you for your answers, and let's move on. This is a great board we have. I will save it. I think I will just make a print screen so I have it for future. I think it's not the first time we're talking about artificial intelligence. So I will introduce my good friend. This is Daniel Gerald. I don't know whether he's okay that I'm putting him in the webinar. I will definitely talk to him about it, but I'm sure he'll be fine. He's a great actor, playwright, and he came to Ukraine, to Kiev last summer. I mean, this summer, the last one in August. He came to Ukraine to show his performance, a really nice performance. And before the performance, he decided to do a workshop, how to work with a monologue, how to work with the text, how to present the text, and how to act it out properly, so it's acting. And he has a really good Royal Drama Academy education, the one in Great Britain, and he's one of these old school actors who work really carefully with the text. And the most interesting part here, while he was having a workshop, there was an English teacher with a monologue that he presented, and Daniel was so excited with this monologue. And then in the end of this monologue, he asked, so who wrote this monologue? And this English teacher said, Chat GPT wrote this monologue. Can you imagine this wonderful, I don't know, around 80 years old man who's been acting in a classical way all his life, knowing Shakespeare by heart, a lot of monologues and like scripts that he learned throughout his life. And he's like, who wrote it? And this one says, well, ChatGPT. I just asked him, can you write a monologue that can be told as a conversation with my father, a very intimate conversation with my father? And ChatGPT wrote a wonderful monologue that Daniel couldn't tell the difference. How does that work? He was so confused, but at the same time so excited, because he spent so much time making a novel into a script for his monoplay, and this is quite a technical job to do. It's not creative, you know, at times. So he could use some help. And why I'm telling you this, I would like you to choose a story that you like more. So here is story one. I will ask you to read this one. So pay attention to the screen to read the story. And here's the second story. I will ask you to read this one too. Okay. Now, I will ask you to type in the chat, which story do you like more and why? And here is, okay, here is way for you to write it. I like story one because, or I like story two because. Let's go. I will be reading. Please don't write just two. I'm interested in because. Two easier to read. Okay, thank you. Is written in a simple language. Two, because of the plot, more lively, it's real, it's simple. Simple language, real life. Story one is GPT. Sounds more natural. Lovely sentences and words. Oh, thank you. Ah, I can't, so many in real life. Okay. Story one, because it's more simple and exciting. Natural. More realistic. Story two, there's my favorite animal, raccoon. Fiction, sophisticated, it's nicer. More realistic, interesting plot. One, because unexpected ending. Uh-huh. Okay, so I believe story one, because it is more developed and uses descriptive language more efficiently. Story two, because it's about real life personalities. Neither. Right. That's okay. One, because it's a fantastic story. Okay, let's move on. Thank you. Let's, so we have story one and story two. And I believe you already know which one is generated by GPT and which one is a real story. Can you type that one? One GPT, two real. Okay. I believe you might have also noticed a few mistakes in one of the stories. Okay, yeah, right you are. So story one was written by GPT. I asked it to tell me a story about a teenager. A short 5-sentence story about a teenager. The second one, I just sat down, and while I was preparing for, I had so much fun preparing for this webinar. You can't imagine. I was just chatting with this GPT chat all the time. But the second story was written out of nowhere because I had to create something on my own. And I was like, okay, so here is this story about a teenager. Let it be Gina and blah, blah, blah. So I wrote it without even knowing what I'm writing at the beginning. I started with a park and somehow ended up with a raccoon. Yeah. Why that happened? Because I don't know, something in my subconscious. I was eating pomegranate at the moment, and I don't know why raccoon. Anyways, why I'm showing you this? Most people liked the second story more because somehow you can relate to it. Somehow it's real. The first story uses proper language, nice descriptions, nice narrative language, but it's not alive. This is not how we speak in real life. This is how GPT chat thinks that books are written. This is how GPT chat thinks that stories are told. But imagine in a normal context how we tell a story. Yeah, and I didn't ask him to tell me fiction or literature. Just tell me a story about a teenager. What happened? And I will tell you more about my research and what struck me while I was doing that. So I'm a very polite person, so I said hi to GPT chat. Tell me a story on B1 level. And this is what it told me. First of all, let's look at this B1 level. A small town nestled between rolling hills. Penchant for adventure. Unraveling a tale. Enchanted landscapes. Well, that's all right, but still, this is not B1 level, and we have to be careful with that when we ask GPT chat to to work with the levels. We still have to put the text through through the English profile. Or another system you can use, but I suggest English profile, where you can check the CFR levels, because that might be a little bit challenging. Or you can ask GPT chat to use particular words. So I asked it to simplify the text. This is what he wrote. And the story became completely not interesting. Like, it's just sentences in order. Then I asked him, okay, let's try A2 plus level, like a little bit more, I don't know, sophisticated. And this is what it wrote. Nothing changed. Again, magical creatures, adventures. And I was like, okay, ChatGPT, I asked you to tell me a story about a teenager, but why did you make up a magical story? And here he goes. He explains that creating a short story with a touch of magic or fantasy helps engage the imagination and adds an element of intrigue to the narrative, and so on and so far. It resonates with a broader audience. So I conclude that ChatGPT works as a marketing tool. It wants to engage more audience. It's not very lively, and it's not very real, because it's like a marketing, you know. It's connected to the ideas of those texts written on the internet, not taken from real life. And this is something you can ask your students to do, to see how GPT chat suggests you unreal things. when you ask it to write a story? Well, in the end, we we agreed on a proper story with the GPT chat, and it was fine. But this is a very interesting philosophical question. Like, it suggests you things that might be creative from the point of view of a machine and internet, but never from the point of view of a human, right? So it doesn't really kill your creativity. It shows you that you can be more creative than GPT chat, because it uses only things that already exist, and you can create something that doesn't exist. And GPT chat can be a lot of help for you to create that, right? When you ask proper questions and when you lead it, so your language is sophisticated and so on, depending, of course, on the aim. Another, just a fun fact, I was trying to find nice pictures, but then I thought, well, there is another artificial intelligence resource that generates illustrations. So I asked it to generate this boy. You saw him before with a picture in a library. It was perfect. But then I just put the whole story into the description, and it gave me this. Only a raccoon and a girl. For some reason, there is a bag, and they are definitely on the balcony. There is no park. Anyways, I asked him, okay, now don't take all this description. Show me an old man, Gina, and a raccoon. And Gina should eat pomegranate or drink pomegranate juice. Of course, it gave me 2 raccoons drinking pomegranate juice. Okay. Then I asked him, okay, Gina and a raccoon works, old man and a raccoon works, but when you ask to put 2 people in one picture, for some reason, it doesn't coincide with its ethics. You never know how they work, these pictures, but you see that it's tricky with how the app, not app, how the system is programmed. Okay, so talking about main challenges. First of all, it's fallacies that can happen. Do you know what is the Cambridge Dictionary word of the year 2023? Can you guess if you don't know? And those who know, hallucinate. Yay! Thank you for reading our Facebook page and liking those things. For those who haven't read it or seen it, let's have a look. Okay, I'm back here. So, artificial intelligence can hallucinate, which means it can produce false information. At the same time, it adapts. If you lead it, it learns, you know, that its idea works as the human brain, like neural system of the human brain, and it can learn from itself and from the internet and from the way you ask the questions. Yeah, it can learn, but still it doesn't mean that it thinks, right? It learns only in terms of the language, and it adapts to the way you want the information presented. But it cannot learn whether something is a fact or not if it's not on the internet. This is the last one. I promise this is the last one. So we finally found a good story. And yeah, as a polite person, I told GPT chat that he did a great job. I told him, great story. Can we make it now on the level and use these words? Quickly, happily, well, fast, easily. Can you... yeah, okay. I have a wrong order of tasks. Anyways, the place was well again. Happy teenager, and I asked to use happily. I needed to work with adverbs. But there is a happy teenager, and everyone was happy. And you can see how it doesn't really do what you need. It can create tasks for students. It can create texts on the level, but it cannot solve the problems because this is okay. don't type anything in the chat. It cannot solve the problems. And you were talking about students cheating. Yeah, they might use it, but you always know when student is cheating. And this is the way you can use it, right? You can use it because it's a new tool, and it's not going to fade. It's not going to disappear. In the nearest future, it's not going to go anywhere. We have to incorporate it in the teaching. And we have to teach our students how to use it properly and how not to get lazy, because we all want simple decisions, and always politics and I don't know, social media and so on. Everybody is trying, especially commercial and marketing, suggest us simple decisions like, your, I don't know, finger hurts, buy this and fix yourself. But there are no simple decisions. And this is something we can really teach our students with this GPT chat. Tracing where they were cheating and asking them to, like, how can you do that if you don't cheat? If you consult, if you use this resource as an assistant, but the final decision, the final solution should be yours, because you're a human in the end, right? Yeah, actually, teachers are happy about artificial intelligence taking over the world and being a really innovative tool for education. Cambridge and the University of Bedfordshire made a research, and they reported on what 386 teachers out of 70 countries said about artificial intelligence. So first of all, they were positive towards generative artificial intelligence. They were saying that now teachers using these tools, teachers are at the forefront of educational innovation. And generative artificial intelligence is currently my best teaching tools. Just so you know, these were two teachers, one from China, another from Kenya. People in Asia are really excited about it, and people in Europe are, as always, conservative about it, more conservative about it. We should make our own decision, but I do think that we can use it. It's not our best tool, for sure. Our best tool is emotional intelligence and motivation. That's our best tool. But it's a good tool to reduce some time-consuming tasks. So, over 80% feel comfortable about generative artificial intelligence. Why generative? Because it generates texts. Over 40% are familiar with it, and just 14% are not familiar with this tool, with these tools. Okay, most teachers, I think it's 54% of teachers, 46% of teachers use it every week. They're using it to design tasks, to create texts, to check the works, to assess students' works, to check the grammar, and so on. 36% use it every month, and 18% never use it at all. So think about it. Are you in a majority or a minority, and why? Other things, so still 73% of teachers think that humans are essential to teaching process, to learning process. And at the same time, 2 out of 3 teachers reported that generative artificial intelligence, or Chat GPT, helps teachers enjoy their job more. And here I'm talking about first assessing students' works, checking the grammar, and designing some tasks if that's needed. It can do some of the heavy lifting. And here we're talking about saving time for time-consuming, for example, reports that you have to make, or things like that. Then it's a work body with a different point of view. You can consult, like, how do I present this topic? And then it tells you something, and that's where you think critically. Now, this is not how this topic presented, or, that's a good idea, I can use it. But of course, it cannot make a perfect lesson plan at all. Even a human cannot make a perfect lesson plan. What can we talk about computers? It can improve learning outcomes. For example, a teacher from Italy said that one of her students improved greatly on the C1 level with her writing skills. She was like talking to Chat GPT, and it told her what to do on the C1 level, how to write there, and how to improve the skills, and a lot of new vocabulary and so on. A word of caution here, it means that, yeah, it can provide false information, and we shouldn't fall for its mathematical I don't know, precision. Yeah, and the 10th thing that teachers like, the teachers said that they do need targeted training. There is no targeted training how to use GPT chat, how to use other artificial intelligence tools for teachers in education. And of course, with Cambridge, we are catching up on that, and this will be our first session. We will have more how to work with teens, how to work with young learners, and how to get motivated yourself. Just a few things. So Chat GPT is a type of a language model that uses deep learning to generate human-like texts. And it works by analyzing a large data set of text and learning the patterns and relationships between verbs and words and phrases. And when given a prompt or a starting point, it can generate text that is similar to the text that it has seen before. That's why the second story was more interesting for you, because you've never seen that before. I made it up. And the first story, it's a typical fantastic story for any, I don't know, fantastic narrative. And there is no event in this story. It's just a description of a story, not a story itself, right? So yeah, it doesn't create something that doesn't exist. And why we should use it to improve writing skills, our own as well, and our students. It's okay sometimes to have tasks like that. Consult with the Chat GPT. It can provide personalized learning for students who don't have much access to live lessons or even online lessons, but they need some explanation. Still, you need to facilitate, as a teacher, you need to facilitate this process. Okay, accessibility, that depends. If you have access to internet, you do have access to these tools. But what we mean here is accessibility of information. And it's much easier to consult with ChatGPT than to Google things. And you have to Google anyways. For example, I'm now preparing my PhD paper, and I do use ChatGPT a lot. I don't use it like I write it instead of me. That would be impossible, and it cannot make a research really. So I'm asking it, okay, give me a list on this topic, and then give me a list on this topic, a list of literature. And from this literature, I can choose something that fits. And those might be things that I've never seen before. Some books I've never seen before. And it has access to all the lists of libraries in the world. So I might find some really great resource and use it to make my own research. Vocabulary building, while chatting there, you can really learn some nice words. And if you don't know this word, you can ask the chat to explain this word to you, and then you learn more words and new ways to explain things in terms of paraphrasing, right? Then it can be your translation assistance. And cultural education. I would say that it's our culture now. We cannot deny it. I would love to deny it, but this is the culture that the world has. It's changing, and it's online culture. And with ChatGPT, you can learn about this part of culture. We cannot say that it's all the cultural education. It's just a part of it. And again, this is something we explain to the students. This is just a part of knowledge, and this is just a navigation on this knowledge. It's just, before, it took much more time. You had to go to the library. You had to find a letter and then find information and do all the technical job that now ChatGPT can do instead of you. So you have more time for proper research, and you can only benefit from that. How does it develop critical thinking? I will just slightly remind what critical thinking is. It consists of 3 core areas, which is understanding and analyzing ideas and arguments, evaluating ideas and arguments solving problems and making decisions. None of that can Chat GPT do. This is what we can do with Chat GPT, with the ideas and arguments it suggests, evaluating them and solving problems and making decisions. That's what we do, and it cannot. And as an example, I will show you one of my favorite tools. This is taken from Think Level 3, Cambridge edition of Cambridge second edition of Think. Collaboration Plus. This is a tool inside of the platform that goes for free for those who use Think. It's a free platform where students can do collaborative tasks all together. And that's the best place to use GPT Chat as an example. For example, here we have project, a collaborative project, making a podcast about a historical event together with students. And students all together or in groups, depending on how teacher puts them in groups. You can do it as a teacher on the platform. Now, there are 3 stages of this project. First, it prepares you. You have a warm-up to revise some words about, I don't know, TV shows and radio shows and so on. Then there is a review, and then you can talk about history. So when we look at this talk about history, it says, if you could choose to live at any other time in history, what time would you choose? Why? We can try to ask that to ChatGPT, but you will see that it won't tell you real thing. But students can still ask that and compare what their chats say and why it's strange, and what would they choose because they're humans. Right? That's an interesting task to do. Compare your ideas and compare the ideas that the artificial intelligence can give you. What you know about the time and what you really feel about the time. And this is definitely something I'm going to do after this webinar. To ask ChatGPT where it would choose to live in what time and why. Then there is a plan. Explore a historical period. Here it can be really helpful. Then make a podcast, then practice your presentation, make a final version, finish the project, reflect on your experience, think about what you learned. First part of it, in the terms of planning, can be actually easily done with the help of artificial intelligence. So the example of Collaboration Plus I was giving you is from this particular book, Think Level 3. These are the levels that there are in this book. These are teacher books, and there is access to Cambridge 1, where we have this Collaboration Plus tool. There are a lot of digital tools for Think second edition, and for example, you see there is Presentation Plus for teacher, for student there is a workbook with interactive exercises, links to classroom audio, video, games, activities, ebook, the students book ebook, and games and activities are accessible online and offline because there is an application. For teacher, there's a huge load of all the resources the teacher desires. There are projects, there are grammar, vocabulary, practice worksheets, reading, writing tasks, and so on. There is a task generator that can help you to assess your students, by the way, using the artificial intelligence model, but the previous versions, not just GPT or something, but the one they created themselves for this platform. Yeah, students have Practice Extra from their workbook access, and collaboration tool. I just showed you what it looks like. And I'm just reminding that we do need to improve our digital literacy, which is using tools and creating digital content, sharing and interacting online, safety and well-being online. All of these we need to develop, and there are wonderful strategies on how to do it. There is a digital literacy brochure that you can download for free and find all those strategies and activity cards, how to work with digital literacy at the lessons and combine it with your students. There is also a great series of podcasts, Teachers Talk Tech. I love it. It's just 15 minutes podcast. You listen to it somewhere on the way or while you're washing the dishes. And most of the webinar was inspired by these podcasts. They are amazing, and they can really tell you a lot of interesting things from really strong experts from Cambridge who work with these tools and who do all the research. We also have a Cambridge digital journey that can help you with pedagogy, with digital well-being, assessment, and learning tools. There is this wonderful website that I can send you, and you can look through it. And we do have a lot of digital tools for our new courses like Kidsbox and Superminds that are also presented on Cambridge One platform, and you can really find ways how to use it together with artificial intelligence and to really get more digital in this crazy digital world. And how to get all these links. It would be nice if you could help us a little bit with our Facebook page. I don't really know you read it or not. Someone, I think it was Anna Boyko, texted that the Cambridge word of 2023 is hallucinate. And I believe you found it on our Facebook page, but I don't see any feedback. So if you want us to send you the links, some interesting links, I will ask you to maybe comment this post. This is one of the last publications. Comment on this, Cambridge English UA on Facebook, and we will send you something in return. Some of these materials I was mentioning in the webinar. That would be really nice of you. And of course, you will receive the certificates within 5 days, which means that it will be next Friday, because Saturday and Sunday are not working days. By the next Friday, you will receive the letter, the thank you letter, with all the certificates and some extra information. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer. This is my email address.